A single legal challenge to Auckland's Unitary plan could delay for up to a year a hoped-for surge of higher density housing developments. The Auckland Council says a judicial review jointly sought by lobbyists, Auckland 2040 and heritage advocates, the Character Coalition, may leave some new developments caught between the city's old zoning plans and those due to come in next month. It could be well into next year before that's resolved by the High Court, and then of course it may go on from there. Until then, those developments intending to use higher density zones will have to go through a complicated process of being weighed up against both the old and the new plans. Auckland correspondent Todd Niall joins us now. Todd, did you hear Penny Hulse about an hour ago?
Yes, I did.
And she said there was room for the parties to get together and have some kind of mediated discussion. But is there any room for the Auckland Council to move?
I'm not a resource management lawyer, but I don't think there's room for the Auckland Council to move in the sense that they could start trading away things within the Unitary plan as part of that mediation. I mean, it's possible that mediation might involve trying to form a common understanding about what the zonings mean and whether or not they were out of scope, which is the phrase that Auckland 2040 are using. But there's a lot of things that could happen in mediation that would stop short of any. I just don't think the council has the ability to trade away elements of the Unitary plan.
No, they don't. Well, certainly not on the surface they don't. So what does the council do? They simply have to go through this, don't they?
Yes, Auckland 2040 and the Character Coalition have lodged their appeal, and it's essentially the same argument that was played out at the council in February this year when there was a big surge of disagreement from some parts of Auckland that through the hearings panel process, some of the residential zonings had got pumped up to a level that hadn't been discussed publicly before. And so essentially what 2040 is saying is not only are these zonings what they call out of scope, but they're also undemocratic and don't have any natural justice for the landowners who didn't get to have another round of discussion about what happened to their properties. And it's an argument that makes sense to a lay person. The question will be, though, whether in law, through this process, the hearings panel, which had one or two of the better minds in resource management law on it, got the law wrong.
Todd, as you told us, and as we put in the intro for the interview with Penny Hulse just after 5 o'clock, there's 114 legal challenges. What makes this one from Auckland 2040 and heritage advocates, the Character Coalition, so different and so material?
Well, there were always going to be appeals, and some of them, of course, large landowners who'd hoped for a more valuable zoning than they ended up with and are going to challenge that. What is unique about this one is that it broadly challenges the argument behind all or any of the residential zoning. So it in effect calls into question residential zonings all across Auckland. And what that means is the new rules for residential zonings can't come in their own right. There's going to be this curious stage where the old rules will still remain in effect. The new rules can be taken into account, but it's going to make it very complicated for somebody seeking to launch a development under the new rules, because they're going to have to submit two separate applications, one arguing why it should be possible under the old rules, one arguing why it has to be possible under the new rules, and then the council is going to have to work out what sort of weight to give those two arguments. It will create a lot of uncertainty. Some things can go ahead. There are already housing developments that have been continuing under the old rules, but people who've been waiting for specific things under the specific new conditions that come in are not going to know what their position is for some time.
Auckland correspondent Todd Niall, thank you very much indeed, Todd.